Yo, what is going on YouTube? It's your boy Dan, aka aDrive, bringing you guys a brand new Draft League Pokemon series. The St. Louis Rampardos are back and we are in the APA Season 5, about to throw down in a brand new Draft League. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down our team, the team I drafted, but there's some pretty cool kind of switch ups for this Draft League. So for those who aren't familiar with the format, basically what happens is a bunch of other YouTubers or coaches basically have a team name. I go by the St. Louis Rampardos in this league. I also have another team called the Minnesota Vikavolts, if you may have seen that battle league before. I usually have two different teams because I run multiple leagues at the same time, so I keep them separate for organizational purposes for you guys and for me. But basically what happens is a bunch of coaches, 12, 16, 20 coaches, whatever it is, drafts a team of Pokemon based on set criteria. So normally you'll have a bunch of different Pokemon that can be drafted. You'll pick one Mega Evolution, you'll pick a Pokemon that we put in Tier 1, a Tier 2, a Tier 3, another Tier 3, etc. And then you have 400 points to get 4 free Pokemon, and each of those tiers have different points. So Tier 1 is 180 points, Tier 2 is 120 points, etc. So you have to fill out the draft to fit the required specifications, and you end up using that team throughout a full season to battle against other coaches. And I love this battle format because it allows you to basically see what your opponent's team is, they see what your team is, and then it's a very strategic preparation process to plan out a team that's going to beat what you think they're going to bring and handle their threats, stuff like that. It generally leads to some lower tier threats actually putting in work, which is kind of cool, and it just has a more varied and diversified style of battle, which I've been a big fan of throughout the last couple years. I'm probably the most longest lasting Draft League battler on YouTube in terms of just like Wi-Fi battle leagues. We've done a lot of them. I've won multiple championships, and while my WBE league has not done so well, I look forward to hopefully picking things back up in this league and putting in some work. So a lot of you guys have been asking for the Ultra Sun and Moon Draft League to come back, so I brought it back for you guys. So hit that like button down below and subscribe if you guys are new. The one other thing I wanted to mention is a very unique aspect of this league is we're not drafting once, we're not drafting twice, we're actually drafting 3 times. And this was an idea that Crimson Seabat and I came up with. Unfortunately, Chase isn't in the league, but we decided that we were gonna do a draft league where you draft a team, you battle 4 battles against other coaches randomly in the schedule, you draft a new team, and then you battle 4 more battles, and then you draft a 3rd team, and then you battle 4 more battles, and then whoever makes the playoffs can create their team based on the stuff that they drafted throughout the season. So kind of a unique way to approach draft league battles, and kind of a cool thing to do in terms of trying out different Pokemon, getting a new team every 4 weeks, and we thought that this would not only keep things fresh for the content creators, but for you guys, the viewers. So we'll have 3 total teams. Whether there's overlap between the teams, whether I draft the same thing or whatever, I don't know, but this is the team that we have for the first 4 weeks of battles. I actually face off against DeathlyiAm in our first battle, so that should be fun. Looking for some revenge after a tough loss against him the last time we played, but it should be a good time. So without further ado, let's jump into our draft breakdown and kind of what I decided to go with. So I ended up having an interesting draft position. I think the draft order, I don't think that's the draft order. What's under the screen. I'm not actually sure what the draft order was. I remember having a decent pick though. Let me take a look if I can tell you guys roughly what my pick was, just so I can give you an idea of kind of where that was. But if I look at the draft board, I had the 6th pick overall. So I was able to pick 6th, and I was trying to figure out, you know, what do I want? What do I want to go for? And honestly, I had one thing really in mind, and that one Pokemon was Mega Lopunny. Now, you have to remember, as I mentioned, we're going to be doing 3 drafts, and if you make playoffs, you can combine your team, still fitting the tier requirement, but combine your team from your previous 3 drafts, even if someone else had already drafted that Pokemon. So I wanted to get a really, really good Mega Pokemon right off the bat. I felt like, to me, that was going to be really advantageous. So Mega Lopunny does just that. It's an incredible Mega Evolution. It's got Scrappy ability, which allows it to hit Ghost type Pokemon with normal type attacks. It's got a very good attack stat. It's got an incredible speed stat at 135. And it's just got great coverage, man. You really can just run high jump, kick, return, and then some coverage options, baton pass. I've seen Fake Out Last Resort used against me. I've seen Power Up Punch Last Resort. A lot of different options there. So Mega Lopunny can certainly put in the work, and it's a very good Mega Evolution to kick off our draft. From there, I kind of was like, you know what, we're gonna grab Mega Lopunny, and then honestly, it's just fill the pieces. I didn't necessarily have a draft plan for this one. My second draft, which we're not even close to yet, I haven't even, at the time of filming this, I haven't actually even done my first battle yet, but 4 weeks from now, we're gonna be doing our second draft, and I actually have a strategy that I'm gonna do for that. We're just gonna mix it up and try something different. But either way, like I said, not really much of a strategy going into this one. Just wanted to grab Mega Lopunny. I knew it was gonna be really good, and it's a Mega Evolution that I've wanted to use before. It's just super easy to use because of you know, just how strong it is. It's really powerful. Don't have to worry about coverage options. There's not a lot of good things that can switch into it. Moving into my number 2 pick, I decided that I really wanted to go for value. I wanted to pick Pokemon that I felt were valuable in either tiers that were maybe they could have been a higher tier, but they were actually ranked lower, or whatever it may be. And I actually went with Sylveon. I'm a big believer in Sylveon, and I think that Sylveon's a phenomenal Pokemon. By the way, I want to mention that I'm actually going to use shiny sprites for the purpose of this video because they look nicer than the ones I have otherwise. But Sylveon's a phenomenal fairy-type Pokemon. It's very good defensively. It's also tier 2. I would say that that's pretty appropriate for it, but it's a very good tier 2 fairy in my opinion. I really love the fact that it can run offensive sets as well with choice specs, and it can be really powerful that way, but it can also just support the team with Heal Bell and Wish and Toxic and Protect, and usually you can just run Hyper Voice, and it's a very good fairy type. It's very bulky, hits relatively hard, and it's got Baton Pass, which I love. I love slow Baton Passers. For those who don't know, even if you can't pass stats, which in this league you actually can pass speed, but nothing else, I think is what it is. You just can't pass speed plus other stuff or something like that. But either way, just Baton Pass by itself, or Dry Pass as I like to call it, gives you initiative and momentum. So I was really happy getting Sylveon here in second round. Maybe a little bit early, probably could have waited till the third round, but I felt really good about it. And again, I really felt like the value there in tier 2 was certainly worth it for me with Sylveon. Then I decided to go with Hydreigon, which also fell into the tier 2 bucket. So you'll see that's going to slide to our free slot. It's going to cost 120 points and leave me with 280 points to spend in our free slots. I have 3 free slots to pick. Hydreigon, a monster, dude. Very good dark type, very good dragon type Pokemon. Again in tier 2, and one could argue that this could be ranked as a tier 1. It's got a lot of stiff competition in tier 1, but Hydreigon's very good. It's got Defog now, which is something that's really cool. It allows it to remove hazards. It's got Levitate, so it's got an immunity to spikes and toxic spikes. It's also got an immunity to ground type moves, which I love. I love the fact that in this format, we're actually doing any Z crystals, so things like Hydreigon really benefit from that. It can run Z Fire, it can run Z Iron Tail, it can actually run Z Belch as well to have a very, very powerful acid downpour to hit those fairy type Pokemon. Just a lot of options. It's also got U-turn, which I love. It gives me some pivoting options, and getting free switch-ins to wall breakers is always a good thing. It's got a great typing. It does have that big 4x weakness to fairy, but because hidden power fairy is not a thing, not really as big of a concern. So we've got a couple little weaknesses though already. You know, we got a fairy weakness, fighting weakness, but again, we can patch those. It's only been 3 picks, but again, to me, getting Hydreigon round 3, I think this thing is a very, very good Pokemon, very strong Pokemon. It hits incredibly hard, and it actually has a lot of versatility as well. You can run like defensive roost sets. There's a lot of things you can do with it if you can get creative. Otherwise, standardly, it's a great choice Scarfer and just like a good offensive Pokemon with like Life Orb and stuff. Moving into round 4, this is probably not a good pick, but I did it anyway. You know, you can't, it's like, if I always say, if you leave Alola Ninetales there in round 3, I'm taking it. If Victini's there in round 2, I'm taking it. I have certain rules when I draft because there's certain Pokemon I really like. And to me, you leave Tapu Bulu there round 4, I gotta take it. I can't pass up on Tapu Bulu in round 4. How could I pass up Tapu Bulu in round 4? I just couldn't do it. Tapu Bulu really is just a monster. Like, you know, I couldn't pass it in round 4. I just couldn't do it, man. When I saw it there, I was like, you know, I love Tapu Bulu. I love its design. I think it's a really cool Tapu. Grassy Surge is awesome. It reduced the power of ground type moves like Earthquake and stuff like that. But it also gives me a second fairy, kind of annoying there, but that does kind of patch up that little bit of a fighting weakness I had before. And it's just a really bulky grass type Pokemon. Obviously has that weakness to poison, which you'll see I kind of cover as we move forward here. But otherwise, I think that Bulu is just a monster. It's a tremendous wall breaker. Choice banded wood hammers are very difficult to switch into for anything that doesn't resist grass. And you know, this thing is just a beast. So really love it. Bulk up is really cool. You can use Grassy Seed with it. You can use Horn Leech for recovery. You can Choice Scarf it. You can do a lot of different things with Tapu Bulu, and I think it's just a monster. I'm really excited to use it. I just think it's like, it was too good. It was too good for me to pass up in round 4. That's really all I could say about it. Moving into the next one, I decided I wanted to get something that was a poison type that can kind of help me with that fighting weakness I had mentioned. And again, a little bit of a fairy weakness. So just trying to cover all those weaknesses, a good poison type. And for some reason, and this was a mistake, I don't know what happened, but Nidoqueen was in tier 2 and Nidoking was in tier 3. And while I would agree that Nidoqueen is better than Nidoking, Nidoking is still an absolute monster and should not be underestimated under any circumstances. For those who don't know, it's got the ability Sheer Force, which powers up with Life Orb, and it makes its attacks incredibly strong. This thing is one of the premier wall breakers in the format. Easily one of those Pokemon that can surprise the league and just like destroy things, pick up multiple kills in a match. I've used Nidoking before. It's a great stealth rocker. It can run toxic spikes. It can be physically offensive, specially offensive. Great speed tier at 85 to really sit in the middle there and be a good choice scarf option. But again, it just pairs really nicely with some of the weaknesses that I already had, and it's such a monster. This team that I have right now, you throw Toxic Spikes in there, and that's really scary for my opponent. But also, I wanted to mention that it does primarily run Earth Power instead of Earthquake, which is not negatively hindered by Tapu Bulu's Grassy Terrain, and in fact, Grassy Terrain actually helps remove that potential ground weakness to Nidoking, which is very nice. So just a really solid pick overall. I was really happy grabbing Nidoking in round 5, and I think this thing is an absolute monster in tier 3. And again, Nidoqueen, as well, as much as I do agree that it is a little bit better because of its bulk, Nidoking being in tier 3 was just such a steal. And again, you'll see that's the theme, just value picks, just trying to get really good value out of my picks in this draft. Next tier 3, I grabbed Cobalion, dude. Cobalion's a really good Pokemon, man, especially in Unlimited Z format. The fact that Cobalion can set up with multiple options. It can be Swords Dance set, it can be Calm Mind set, it can be Rock Polish, it can do all 3, or 2 of the 3 really, at once, and it's got good coverage in Iron Head and, you know, Stealth Rocks, and to set up rocks. It can be a Volt Switcher, which I love the ability to Volt Switch around with a Pokemon like this. It doesn't have a weakness to rocks. It's a 108 base speed, so tremendous speed there. Really gives me good speed tiers, man. I'm 135, 108, 98, 85, and below, so really looking good there with that pick. It just fit the team, and I've just seen this put so much work in. It's very bulky as well, like pretty naturally bulky, and it's not super strong offensively, but with a Swords Dance and a Z move, this thing is a monster, dude. So Cobalion with Z moves is just so good. It's just such a beast because fighting and steel together is it's a really good offensive combo, and then the fact that you can slap a Z move on it with like Z Stone Edge or something like that can really just make it a huge threat offensively. So really glad I was able to grab Cobalion there. Moving to the next round, I don't think Shiny Volcanion exists yet, but I grabbed Volcanion, and this is a Pokemon that I've wanted to get for a while, and I was trying to think of like, how do I pair Tapu Bulu with something, and I was like, I only have so many picks left. What do I want to do? And Volcanion was in tier 2, so another 120 points, so it pairs with Hydreigon there, but I just felt like Volcanion was too good, man. This thing is an absolute monster. It is so difficult to switch into because of those powerful steam eruptions. It's basically like a Scald on steroids, and it's coming off this monstrous special attack stat on this incredibly bulky Pokemon that it just breaks through things. It also runs Fire Blast. You can run Flame Charge on it to get a speed boost. You can run Z Solar Beam, you can run Power Herb Solar Beam, you can run defensive, and it gets defog now too, so I can use it to remove hazards as well. Not that, you know, Hydreigon can't do that, but it just gives me another option to remove hazards on a team that's not really weak to hazards. This is actually my first Stealth Rock weak Pokemon, so I really felt like it wasn't an issue either way. But Volcanion's got Water Absorb, and again, it's just massively powerful. It does have a ground weakness, got a rock weakness, a couple things like that, but otherwise, I mean, it's a pretty good Pokemon in the sense that it, you know, again, Tapu Bulu is really going to benefit it there with having that grassy terrain, which I love, and I've got a couple other resists in the mix there. Cobalion, Nidoking, Lopunny to take those rock type moves. So just really good synergy all around. I think Volcanion is going to be a huge threat and very difficult to deal with. Every time I've faced it, it's been a struggle to try to switch into it, because if you don't have a bulky water type, Volcanion is going to put in the work, and Bulu just eats bulky waters like for breakfast. So really cool stuff there. We've got Cofagrigus coming in at tier 4, our next pick, 8th pick. I love Cofagrigus. This thing is one of my favorite Pokemon to use. It's very physically bulky. It's got Mummy as an ability, which helps shut things down that have good abilities like a Azumarill, so it can actually save the game for you. I love the fact that it gets Trick Room, so I can switch up some speed, and you'll see some cool strategies as I show you the rest of my draft here with Trick Room. But I also love the fact that it gets Toxic Spikes, and I'm a big Toxic Spike fan. I think this team really benefits from hazards, and having Toxic Spike is nice there. We got Will-O-Wisp, and again, it's just a really bulky ghost type Pokemon that can, you know, just do a lot of different things. It's very annoying to deal with. It can knock off, do a lot of different things, and again, it just serves as like a glue piece to the team, kind of covering some of those weaknesses. Like I said, I alluded to a little bit of a fighting weakness earlier that we kind of can cover, and things like that. So I love me some Cofagrigus, and it's well protected from a dark perspective, right? Like dark type moves really aren't that scary when I have a Hydreigon, and I have a Lopunny, and I have a Cobalion, which has Justify, and I have a Sylveon and a Bulu. Like, you go ahead and click knockoff. Good luck, because something's going to come in for free. So I really like Cofagrigus, and I just think it's such a good pick, and I'm really stoked that we got it. Stakataka, baby. If you guys did not see me in the last season where I had Stakataka and Reuniclus together, then you missed out on a tremendous season. I believe we made it all the way to the championship, and then I like did really bad in the championship game, but Stakataka I picked up mid-season at free agent. This is another Pokemon that was 120 points, so that makes it so I have to grab 2 tier 5s to wrap the draft out, but I didn't care about that. Stakataka is a monster, dude. First of all, it's a Stealth Rock setter, which I love. I can set up those hazards. My Stealth Rocking is a little bit limited, I would say. If there's one big flaw to the team, is my Stealth Rock setting. Cobalion, Nidoking, and Stakataka are forced into those roles, which is okay. I mean, I feel like I can make one of them work every week, right? But this thing is a monster because it can run Trick Room, and it can actually just plow through things, man. Its speed stat is so low. You can run Trick Room with this and Cofagrigus together, or just Stakataka on its own. And a lot of times, if it's able to get up that Trick Room successfully, and it can get a Beast Boost, it's over. It's just over. And this thing with Rocky MZ is just, nothing switches in. Like, if you run Lonely Nature in the right setup, you can actually get attack boost with your Beast Boost, which means that as soon as you kill something with Stakataka, then basically you one-shot everything, and it's just so difficult for the opponent to deal with. I can tell you that this is one of the hidden gems in Draft League, and I feel like it's super underestimated. For some reason, I got it in 9th round. I feel like other coaches just don't think it's that good, or whatever it may be, and like this thing, in my opinion, is top tier, dude. This thing is a monster. Stakataka is so scary. Like, yes, it's got those big weaknesses, right? It's got a ground weakness, it's got a fighting weakness, but look at all those things that I tried to cover, right? Like, I got the Cofagrigus, I got the Nidoking, I got the Tapu Bulu to help with the ground weakness, I got the Hydreigon, which has the immunity. So I really tried to kind of patch those weaknesses with other Pokemon that have immunities to kind of cover and help out Stakataka a little bit there. But just a monster, dude. And don't forget, it can also be like a good defensive Pokemon too, just like Stealth Rocks and Infestation and stuff. Musharna, baby. Tier 5 Musharna, man. I wanted a good Psychic type because I feel like Psychic types are kind of tricky to deal with, and another Trick Roomer, so we've got some Trick Room options. Musharna is really good though, man. I feel like this is one of those tier 5 Pokemon that often just gets overlooked because there's other Psychic types that are really good. Musharna is not super strong, but it's as strong as a lot of other things, and it's very slow, but it's very bulky. It has its own recovery in Moonlight. It's kind of like Cresselia Light, right? Like it's like a mini Cresselia in a way. Not nearly as bulky, but definitely has some cool utility options there. Can set up on its own, has coverage with Fairy and Psychic and Shadow Ball and whatever else, and primarily it can be used to heal up the rest of the team. It's got Healing Wish, and it's also got Baton Pass as well. I mentioned those slow Baton Passes, really cool there, and it can just status things. So it's just kind of like a glue piece to the team, nice little Psychic type that can put in some work, and I used it in VGC and it was actually pretty cool. And then last but not least is going to be Rotom Frost. I'm a big Rotom fan. I love me some Rotom Frost. I believe in this dude. Electric and Ice combination offensively is very, very good. There's very few Pokemon that can switch into Ice types and Electric types together. So Rotom actually has both of those as its stab. It's the only Pokemon I believe that does. The one thing that brings it back is the fact that Blizzard's 70% accurate. But truthfully, with unlimited Z crystals, you can definitely run Z Blizzard and run the Ice Slammer or whatever, which is kind of cool. But otherwise, I just feel like Rotom's a good Pokemon, man. It's got that ground immunity with Levitate. It's got Defog as well to help remove hazards. So, you know, I'm just a big Rotom Frost fan. I think it's a really good Pokemon, and I'm excited to have it on the team. So that's our squad right there, guys. We got Tapu Bulu, Sylveon, Nidoking, Cobalion, Cofagrigus, Musharna, Mega Lopunny, Hydreigon, Volcanion, Stakataka, and Rotom Frost. So, pretty cool team. Is it perfect? Probably not, you know what I mean? Like, I think that there's some really good aspects to the team, though. I think we definitely have some huge firepower. Things like Bulu, things like Hydreigon, things like Volcanion, very difficult to switch into. We have a very good Trick Room mode with Stakataka, Cofagrigus, Musharna. We've got some good speed in Mega Lopunny, Cobalion, and then a couple things kind of under that 100 mark. So a little on the slower side my team is, but it doesn't bug me in the slightest, again, because of our Trick Room options, and that's something that my opponent's really going to have to think about every single game. So they're going to have to not only prepare for Lopunny by running Choice Scarfers and things like that, but then they're going to have to prepare for Trick Room, which could really throw them off. So I'm really looking forward to this team. I think I did a great job drafting overall. I know, like, I don't have the best removal. My removal is all stuck on Defog, but again, I don't really have a Stealth Route weakness. Only Volcanion and Rotom Frost are actually even weak to rocks in the first place. I know my rock setting options are a little bit limited because I am going to be forced to Nidoking, Cobalion, or Stakataka, but I'm okay with that. I think I've got some really good firepower. I think I got some good bulk on the team, and I've got some just really good Pokemon in general. So I'm excited for this. I'm excited to draft again actually in a few weeks, because like I said, I'm gonna try something totally different, like completely out in left field next draft. So I'm really excited for that. But this is the team, so I hope you guys like it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Hit that like button, subscribe if you guys are new. First week of matches goes up next week against DeathlyiAm. And that is gonna be that for me, guys. My name is Dan. I also go by aDrive, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.